Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Pitch Perfect presentation. I'm so glad to have you all here. Before we get started, I would just like to note that this presentation was created in February of 2024, and therefore a lot of the information in it will be outdated. Without further ado, let's get started. Queerbaiting. All right, so queerbaiting is, according to Wikipedia, a marketing technique for fiction and entertainment in which creators hint at but do not depict same-sex romance or other LGBTQ plus representation. Queerbait can also be the intentional implications of LGBTQ plus representation while fully not intending to follow through with them and only using it to draw in a larger audience, according to J. Anderson 2024. That's me. So you know you can trust me because I said this, right? So, right, Pitch Perfect. There's three movies of them. I got these high quality posters and it's very exciting. I still have these on the desktop of my computer. I really love these posters so much. It's kind of weird. But Pitch Perfect posters aside, what will I be talking about in this very long presentation? So I will be talking about each movie as a concept, some incredible foiling in Pitch Perfect 2, every single important character, in my opinion, fandom as a general thing. I will also be talking about my little gay research project. And then, of course, some final thoughts, which happens to be a single slide long. So, Pitch Perfect. In a bad summary, Becca just started college, but she doesn't want to be there. However, her dad makes her join a group on campus, and Becca, for some reason, joins an a cappella group, the Bellas, who have been made fools of and are trying to earn back their respect by making it to nationals and hopefully win it all. However, their methods are very traditionalist, and Becca tries, fails, tries, and finally succeeds in changing the old ways of the Bellas with the help of her newfound friends. The idea of this movie is that new methods and experimentation and having fun are often the resolution instead of drilling every old dry thing over and over. The five main characters are Becca Mitchell, Jessie Swanson, Chloe Beale, Aubrey Posen, and Patricia Fat Amy Hobart. Pitch Perfect 2, in a bad summary, is after winning three a cappella championships, the Bellas are disgraced in a national scandal. Their only chance to be reinstated is to win the a cappella world championship. However, this proves to be hard to do as the Bellas are no longer sure of what their sound is and feel more disconnected as ever as Becca hides a secret job from the group. However, with the help of a team building retreat, songwriter newbie Emily, and a whole legacy of Bellas, they are able to win it all. The idea is that it's important to leave a legacy and build a story that others can continue while staying true to yourself. The five main characters are Becca Mitchell, Patricia Fat Amy Hobart, Emily Junk, Chloe Beale, and Bumper Allen, unfortunately. Pitch Perfect 3, in a bad summary, is that 3 years after graduating college, Becca is a music producer, but she hates the musicians she works with. Luckily, she can take her mind off this with an opportunity to reunite with her college a cappella group and tour some US military bases in Southern Europe. The Bellas compete against two bands and a pair of DJs to open for DJ Khaled, but things get a little derailed when the Bellas are taken hostage by Amy's dad. Luckily, they get out of the situation by the time DJ Khaled declares Becca and not the Bellas as the winner and co-signs her. The idea is you must let go of certain points of your life and move on instead of holding on to what you think is the best part of your life because there is more after that. The four main characters in this are Becca Mitchell, Patricia Fed-Amy Hobart, Chloe Beale, and Fergus Hobart, unfortunately. So, hey, you might be thinking, what's up with this lighting and also Pitch Perfect 3? The lighting I can't do much about, but I can tell you about Pitch Perfect 3, which is that Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2 has a very clear formula, and the Bellas are disgraced and must find themselves again while attempting to win a major competition in order to prove themselves as worthy. Pitch Perfect 3 doesn't follow this formula. This is because the Bellas are out of college. They probably only made the third one for fun and or money, or maybe they had the idea to do more following a similar formula to the third one, etc. So how can the weirdness of the Pitch Perfect 3 formula be solved? If a fourth one is made and it's also pretty different, but that's for another presentation. I should also note that while Pitch Perfect 3 tends to be a lot of people's least favorite Pitch Perfect movie, I will say that I do know someone who likes Pitch Perfect 3 a lot more than Pitch Perfect 2 because she felt like Pitch Perfect 2 was too unrealistic, specifically for them being in college. And by taking them out of college, she appreciated that more and thought that it was a lot more fun. So, shout out to Caroline for that one. She is the outlier, but that doesn't mean that her opinions and views aren't worth anything. Let's talk about the amazing Pitch Perfect 2 foiling. First, what is a foil? Well, according to Wikipedia, in any narrative, a foil is a character who contrasts with another character, typically a character who contrasts with the protagonist in order to better highlight or differentiate certain qualities of said protagonist. Ooh, Julia, who's the foil? Great question. Emily Junk is a foil to Becca Mitchell. Why? Let's take a look. Disclaimer, they are not perfect foils. It's more of a compare and contrast that highlights things as opposed to a strict contrast, which most foils tend to be. So, Becca in Pitch Perfect is broody, does not want to join the Bellas, doesn't really have a concept of a cappella, has a bad relationship with her dad, her parents are divorced, and improves the Bellas with her ability to make mashups. A note about Becca in Pitch Perfect 2 is that she has a hard time making original music. Now, Emily in Pitch Perfect 2 is upbeat. Joining the Bellas is at the top of all her dream boards. She's not Capella Legacy. She has a good relationship with her mom. Her parents love each other enough to have loud and annoying sex, according to herself. She improves the Bellas with her ability to write original music and has a hard time improvising or combining songs, etc. For example, the riff off. They're both the new kids in each movie, respectively, but treat it very differently. Also, they get along and help each other out, collaborating at the end of the movie to record a demo of Emily's song and adding it to their set for the Worlds. They also use Emily's connection to the Bella legacy to contact former Bellas to help them with the Worlds. One of my favorite reflections is that they both have important conversations with their parents in the movie right before everything starts going right again. It's really fun, like casual foil that they put in there. They're obviously supposed to reflect each other in some way, shape, or form. And I think that it's really fun. Now, let's talk about every significant character in Pitch Perfect. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly since these slides take up most of the presentation. So, apologies to bumper haters, Fergus haters, Baloney Barb stands, Corey stands, and Mary Lee stands, DSM Beatboxer fans, people who like the tone hangers, Dax stands, Saddle Up Evermoist, and or Young Sparrow and DJ Dragon Nut stands, as well as others. I'll be doing this starting with the characters of lesser importance. Kimmy Jin. She's Becca's freshman year roommate. She's not friends with Becca. She enjoys judging people with a stink eye instead of talking to them. She joined the Korean Student Union at Barden, has minimalist room decor, and plays video games with her friends while sitting on Becca's bed. Luke from the radio station is 22. He's British, I think. He enjoys burgers, he enjoys music, and listened to Becca's mixes even if it took him a while. He calls Becca Becky, and Jesse is kind of jealous of him for no good reason. Theo, the guy who works for DJ Khaled. He's into Becca, but I'm not sure if it's talent-based or also romantic. He reminds Becca of a turtle. He is British, and he makes a lot of eye contact. Becca's box, aka Dax's uncle, this man does not have a name. Maybe that's why he doesn't remember other people's names. He doesn't have one. But he's important to Becca's growth and realization of what it really means to follow her dreams as a music producer. Also, he's very funny, and I have a good time when he's on screen. Dr. Mitchell, Becca's dad. He's a professor of comparative literature at Barden University. He's got a doctorate in something, probably comparative literature. He's divorced from Becca's mom. He's currently married to a woman called Sheila. He's trying but always doing the best job to be a good dad. Catherine Junk, Emily's mom, she didn't take her last husband's last name, which is hard on. She has a 5-octave vocal range. She's loud during sex, apparently. Very iconic Bella, according to Chloe, has a very strong connection to sisterhood and does not believe that George Michael is gay. Chicago Walt has a backstory with a lot of acronyms. He's from Georgia. He's in the army. Chloe likes him. He likes Chloe. In many fan fictions where people who don't pair Chloe off with a fellow Bella, they have her have a cute little straight relationship with this man. Denise. She's only in the first Pitch Perfect movie, so there's a chance that she might have been the only one of Aubrey and Chloe's new recruits that was not a freshman. She's Cynthia Rose's ex, apparently. Due to only being an extra Bella in one movie, we know very little about her, and many people tend to forget about her existence. Donald from the Troublemakers. He carried the Troublemakers. He can rap, he can sing, he can beatbox. He's the one who drives the Troubles to competitions, and he thinks the fact that Lily sets fires to feel joy is adorable. Fergus Hobart, Amy's dad, he's a criminal who's obsessed with money. He's got a boat named the Fat Dingo Bitch. He's just a bad guy. Let's move on. Pieter Kramer. I don't think I pronounced that right, which is embarrassing because I am German, but his name isn't very German. He's the main DSM guy. He's an absolute powerhouse for a DSM. Kind of mean, but in a silly way. He wears a lot of eyeliner. Like I said, Pieter is not a German name. I think we only know his last name because of Bumper in Berlin, which I haven't watched, but I don't want to watch. Commissar, the main DSM lady, some people had Canon Commissar being her last name, with sometimes her first name being Anna, which is a common German name, and also a name that I really like because two of the coolest people in my life are named Anna. She's mean, but not in a silly way. She speaks 8 languages, and Loser is not one of them. She foreshadowed the movie Trolls 2016 and made Becca question her sexuality. John Smith is part of the National A Cappella Association. He's a commentator for college a cappella competitions. He runs a podcast called Let's Talk Cappella with Gail. He tried to make a documentary about the Bellas, also with Gail. He's apparently not aware of World War II, and he is a misogynist at heart. Gail Abernathy McCadden Feinberger. She's a part of the National A Cappella Association. She's a commentator for college a cappella competitions. She runs a podcast called Let's Talk Cappella with John. She tried to make a documentary about the Bellas, also with John. She's been married many times, at least twice, but it's implied more. She used to be in an a cappella group called the Minstrel Cycles. Ashley Jones. She's got such a good voice. She's often forgotten and she's aware of it. She possibly believes she is Jessica. I think it's a bit. Definitely in love with, or at least besties with Jessica. She's born in Middleton, New Jersey, according to her passport in Pitch Perfect 3. Jessica Smith, no relation to John Smith, is often forgotten and she's aware of it. She's very bouncy in the first movie, definitely in love with, or at the very least, besties with Ashley. Points to Ashley to sacrifice her on the boat, but may have been a bit. Born in Middleton, Wisconsin, according to her passport in Pitch Perfect 3. You could say that Ashley and Jessica are very Middleton. Florencia Flo Fuentes. She's from Guatemala, apparently been in a mass amount of weird situations, has the ability to occasionally break the fourth wall, can do cartwheels and flips, etc., and does them for fun. She is the shortest Bella, and she graduated with honors from Barden. Stacey Conrad. She did not listen when her doctor told her not to have sex for 6 weeks. Her hobbies include cuticle care and Eat Network. She graduated with honors from Barden. She has a child named Bella. And in the original script for Pitch Perfect 2, it says she majored in naval engineering, but because that is technically not canon, people have just agreed she's a woman in STEM. Also, I don't actually know where we got her last name. I'm very confused about that because everyone else has passports or has their last names mentioned on screen. Don't know why her last name is Conrad and why we decided that. Lily Onakamara. She speaks very quietly. She's an awesome beatboxer, has committed many crimes, apparently has gills like a fish, was born in Area 51 according to her passport, was possessed by Satan, and apparently her real name is Esther despite what her passport says. Cynthia Rose Adams. She carries the Bellas. She's a major soloist in almost every performance of theirs. She's the only canonical queer character in Pitch Perfect. Probably had a crush on Stacy in at least the first movie. She's bad at flying planes. It's unclear if her name is hyphenated or not. In the movie credits, I don't think it's hyphenated, but a lot of people still are hyphenating it in different places. So, anyway, whatever. She deserves more than she was given in every movie. Benjamin Benji Applebaum, he likes magic and a cappella. He's hated by Bumper for no reason. Has budding romance with Emily in Pitch Perfect 2. He's really into Star Wars. He's there a lot, but there's not much information about him personally. Bumper Allen, he used to be in the Troublemakers. He has his own brand of sports sandals. He interned for John Mayer, joined the Tonehangers, was on The Voice, dated Amy, and got her tattooed on his butt when they broke up, and he moved to Berlin or something. I don't know. I haven't seen the show. Jesse Swanson. He loves movies, specifically 80s movies. He wants to create movie soundtracks slash compose film scores when he grows up. He dated Becca for at least 3 years, became a leader of the Troublemakers along with Benji. He's just a genuinely nice and goofy guy, and he has a habit of making himself comfortable. Emily Junk. She writes music to calm herself. She's the legacy trademark, very awkward, very excitable and positive, had that romance thing with Benji, got a hamster before Pitch Perfect 3, and she's hated by Fat Amy for no real reason. Aubrey Posen. If she taught a class, it would be Daddy Issues 101. She's very uptight most of the time, leader of the Bellas for 1 year. Disgraced the Bellas her junior year by throwing up at nationals, started running a retreat for company bonding, feels sick whenever she performs but does it anyway, and wants to become a birthing coach in Greece. Chloe Beale. She failed Russian Lit 3 times and maps at least once. She gets very emotional very quickly, little to no sense of personal boundaries, usually a very nice person. Becomes a vet despite wanting to teach kids or become an exotic dancer. Finds army men attractive, apparently, or at least she does Chicago. Patricia Fat Amy Hobart. She's the character we know the most biographical information about. No idea where Amy, the name, comes from, but that's what she's called. Implied that she has hooked up with 3 of the Wiggles, stole $20 from Becca's purse every month, at least in Pitch Perfect 2, and upon the end of Pitch Perfect 3, she now has tons of money, unrelated. Her dad is a criminal, and she has a background in being raised by criminals, and she probably never met a Jewish person before the first Pitch Perfect movie. Last but not least, our starring role, Becca Mitchell. She has the most amount of character development. She changed the Bellas as an institution. She created the Bella sound, somehow both incredibly awkward and really bold at the same time. She's really into music but can't write songs, becomes a producer, which is her life goal, and ends up getting co-signed to DJ Khaled to become a singer at the end of the third movie. Now let me talk about passports and their confusion, just briefly. In Pitch Perfect 3, there's a quick shot of the Bella's passports, and most of these you can see their first and last names, their place of birth, and their birth dates. However, the dates are wrong to canon and imply the characters would all have started college at the age of 19 to 20 instead of 18 to 19, which is fine for some characters, but not for all of them because Becca is totally 18 in the first Pitch Perfect. And the exception to this is Emily, whose passport states she's exactly 1 month older than Haley Steinfeld, which would make Emily 17 starting college, which happens, but makes the whole thing with Benji even weirder. And it should be noted that I do believe Pitch Perfect takes place in the time in which it's supposed to take place, because like that one video that keeps getting recommended on my YouTube page, Pitch Perfect is a period piece for 2012. Furthermore, producer and Pitch Perfect 2 director Elizabeth Banks has some headcanons for certain character birthdays where they are from that don't match up with the passports. Now, if the passport says that Becca was born in Seattle, but Elizabeth Banks says she was from Portland, I don't see this as an issue because often people move to different places than when they were born. Birthdays, whatever, like pick whatever one you want, even though technically the passport ones are canon. As for years, just accept that the props department got the information wrong or confused. It happens. What I'm confused about is the fact that despite having a Guatemalan passport and talking about getting deported, Flo supposedly was born in Miami. Wouldn't that give her an American citizenship automatically? Like, tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't know, but I feel like she should get an American citizenship for being born in Miami, unless there's a place called Miami in Guatemala that I'm just not aware about. Here are some of the passports. Your hair's not allowed to be up in a passport picture. Emily, Cynthia Rose. Here are some of them. You can see the Middletons and just, Lily's entire thing about being born in Area 51. Now let's talk fandom. I watched Pitch Perfect for the first time the spring of 2002. 2022, not 2002. I wouldn't be alive. So at the time, it had been 4.5 years since the release of Pitch Perfect 3, and the fandom was dying down significantly. Nowadays, there are a few people posting edits, GIFs, memes, or just generally posting about Pitch Perfect on Tumblr, the fandom site, or anywhere else. Because of this and the fact that search functions kind of suck, I have experienced only the remains. But like many archaeologists might tell you, I don't know any archaeologists, but they might tell you the remains can be very useful to understanding. Like many fans of various media, Pitch Perfect sort of got a revival during 2020, but it was more of a boost that let it hold on longer than it otherwise might have. This boost, for all fandoms, most heavily included fan fiction. It's a wonderful little screenshot of archive of our own. AO3 is an archive. Because AO3 is an archive, you can trace a lot of what was or is popular thinking in a fandom, or at least what people are deciding to write about. Because I cannot find posts and thoughts people were having about the movies when they came out from 2012 to 2018, which were prime fandom times, of course. Fan fiction is my best resource to how people interpret the characters and who they are and what they are like. So let's talk about that. Gay people. Now, fandoms are full of queer people, as projection onto weird fictional characters is often a way in which people who are outcasts somehow in the world feel as though they can relate to it. But listen, Pitch Perfect is like 90% lesbians. They have straight ships. Like, it doesn't have to be 90% lesbians, but it is. This is a screenshot from Archive of Our Own as of February 5th, 2024. There are, as of the time of the screenshot, 7,785 fanfictions. 92% of them are tagged femslash. Here's the top ships as listed on AO3 at the time of that previous screenshot. So first we have our top 5 lesbians or, sapphic ships, which are Chloe Beale and Becca Mitchell, Stacey Conrad and Aubrey Posen, Becca Mitchell and Aubrey Posen, Chloe Beale and Aubrey Posen, and Emily Junk and Becca Mitchell. The top 3 gay men, or Achillean ships, as listed in AO3, are Benji Applebaum and Jesse Swanson, Luke and Jesse Swanson, and Bumper Allen and Benji Applebaum. Any other ships that involve men in love with each other have less than 4 fan fictions about them. One of these ships are DJ Dragonnuts and Young Sparrow, so that's pretty cool. The top 5 straight couples are Becca Mitchell and Jesse Swanson, Benji Applebaum, Emily Junk, Chloe Beale, Chicago Walp, and Aubrey Posen, Jesse Swanson, and then Bumper Allen, Fat Amy. Some fun facts about these ships are that the Aubrey Posen and Jesse Swanson one was very popular because for a while the movies were being filmed, the actors were dating and got married. They are now divorced, but that was a thing that happened. Here are some ship fun facts. Many of the earliest fan fictions involved Aubrey, like they were out there shipping her not only with Becca or Chloe, but with Amy or Donald. Becca and Chloe was popular from the start. Cynthia Rose and Stacy used to be a bigger ship. The earliest documented Ashley and Jessica fanfic is December 13th, 2012, and the earliest Bumper and Amy fic is from December 20th, 2012. At least that I could find. I'm sure that there are other ones, especially on other platforms like fanfiction.net or even Wattpad. But I didn't decide to dive into that because their search functions are not good. Some fandom fun facts are that a lot of fanfiction has Cynthia Rose as a supporting character or side character, but not many have her as a main character, and even fewer have her as one of the main love interests. People enjoy giving her an original character wife or having her marry Denise because she mentions getting married after Pitch Perfect 2, though it doesn't seem to happen. Stacy became a really popular character after the second movie when people found out she was supposed to be really smart in an early draft of the script that they cut. She also graduated with honors, so people enjoy making a well-rounded character due to her not having much complexity in canon. This is the original script for the campfire scene where literally everybody except for Jessica, Ashley, and Stacy talk about what they want to do with their future. And in the original script, Stacy says, after I graduate, I'm going to do the hardest job there is. And Fat Amy says, let me guess, be a house mom. And Stacy says, no, repair propellers on nuclear submarines. That's why I majored in naval engineering, which is a major you can have, apparently. And Amy nods, roger that. And I guess that was just going to be the end of that. Hey, do you remember the beginning when I lied and said this presentation was about queer baiting? Yeah, so we're going to circle back around to that because the reason there's so many lesbians in Pitch Perfect fandom is largely because of Queerbait working. While the first movie is kind of gay, there's not much there. The second one did more stuff. For example, just because you're making me very sexually confused does not mean you're intimidating. At this point, they obviously knew what the fans wanted. Becca and Chloe to fall in love, or really just more lesbians. I mean, give Cynthia Rose a girlfriend? So the biggest queerbait they did is that one of the ads for the third movie featured Becca and Chloe approaching each other like they were about to kiss, turning to the camera and telling you to go watch the movie. Imagine the disappointment when all they did was set Chloe up with a man from the army and have the part where she gropes Becca's boobs. I'm not going to get into all this as this presentation is very long and many people have made videos that I haven't watched about queerbaiting in Pitch Perfect on YouTube. Which who knows, maybe that's your next recommended video. I haven't watched these videos, although I definitely should. I tend to be more of a reader than a watcher of essays. However, if watching video essays on YouTube is your thing, I totally recommend watching videos about queerbait in Pitch Perfect. And here's the crazy thing. Anna Kendrick, who plays Becca, and Brittany Snow, who plays Chloe, both wanted their characters to get together. Or at least they wanted it enough that they planned to do this on one of the outtakes for the scene during the credits.
gotta go show this guy how it's done.
Oh. I always knew.
Of course, it didn't make it into the final cut of the movie because they did it without permission and everybody else didn't know it was happening. This clip leaked on December 10th of 2020. Fans went crazy. But as I was not yet a fan, my favorite outcome of this was this note on a non-Chloe fanfic that was published the next day. Anyway, if fanfic writers had agents, mine would be telling me not to post this in the current climate because it's literally the day after the Chloe kiss leak. But whatever, man. I'm not doing this for the feedback or the hits, though those would be nice. I'm doing it for the me. Now let's talk about my gay little research project. In this, I had 4 subjects. Subjects 1 and 2 had never seen any Pitch Perfect movie before. Subject 3 had only ever seen the first one. Subject 4 had seen the first and the second one. Subject 4 was not present for the viewing of the first Pitch Perfect and therefore has no contributions for that part. Let's get into it. Is Pitch Perfect gay? Yes. Every time subjects 1 and 2 saw something gay happen, I told them to yell out gay, and together they counted 33 gay moments in Pitch Perfect. After the movie, I interviewed subjects 1, 2, and 3. Subject 1 thinks that Benji and Jesse are in that room. Chloe, Aubrey needs them to make out and have fade to black sex. Maybe Aubrey, Becca, Chloe, because they're all weirdly gay with each other. Thinks the gayest character is Aubrey. Subject 2 is a big fan of Benji and Jesse. Aubrey and Chloe. Aubrey and Becca is an enemies to lovers thing. Cynthia, Rose, and Stacy, and thinks the gayest character is Aubrey. Subject 3 is into Benji and Donald for no reason. Cynthia, Rose, and Stacy, Aubrey, and Becca feels like Chloe is a straight girl experimenting, and that Jesse may also experiment specifically with Luke, thinks the gayest character is Benji because it's Ben Platt, which you'll see is a common theme in If Pitch Perfect 2 is gay, which, yes. Every time subjects 1, 2, and 3 saw something gay happen, I told them to yell out gay, and together they counted 72 gay moments in Pitch Perfect 2. After the movie, I interviewed subjects 1, 2, 3, and 4. Subject 1 thinks Becca and Chloe have explored each other's bodies, is a fan of Benji and Jesse, thinks Cynthia, Rose, and Stacy have clearly something going on, despite Stacy not appearing to be gay, thinks that the ship of Becca and Emily is weird and thinks the gayest character is Becca. Subject 2 thinks Becca and Chloe are cute, thinks Emily has a crush on Becca and Becca kind of flirted at the end, but subject 2 does not ship and he needs you to know that. Does not think that there's enough Cynthia, Rose, and Stacy, or Benji and Jesse, and is glad to see some Chloe and Aubrey. Thinks that the gayest characters are Becca and Benji. Subject 3 is a fan of Ashley and Jessica, as she should be. Cynthia, Rose, and Stacy, they've got something going on, but it won't last. Thinks Benji needs to meet a magical man. Thinks John and Gail are beards for each other, despite being married to other people. Thinks that Aubrey and Chloe is like a one-time thing, and thinks Becca's tipping point for realizing her sexuality is Commissar, and thinks that the gayest characters are Benji, Becca, and Cynthia Rose. Once again, Cynthia Rose is canon, and Benji is Ben Platt, so. Subject 4 thinks Aubrey and Chloe have something vaguely homoerotic, but might argue and never see each other again. Fan of the more Chloe slight gayness, or maybe wants more Chloe slight gayness. Thinks that Benji needs a cute magic boyfriend, and Chloe needs a hot lesbian, and Emily needs an official gay awakening because Becca is just teetering. Subject 4 thinks the gayest characters are Benji and Chloe. Is Pitch Perfect 3 gay? Yeah. Every time any of the subjects saw something gay happen, I told them to yell out gay, and together they counted 44 gay moments in Pitch Perfect 3. After the movie, I interviewed all 4 subjects. Subject 1 thinks Becca and Chloe are still a little gay with each other, and Becca and Cynthia Rose kind of. The winky face is included in that assessment. Is a fan of Ashley and Jessica, as they should be, and thinks the gayest character is Becca. Also should be noted that they weren't allowed to say that Benji was the gayest character because he's not in the movie. Subject 2 thinks that Ashley and Jessica are canon, thinks that Benji and Jesse got together and have a cat, thinks that Aubrey and Chloe should be endgame, says Emily likes older women. Aubrey and Emily had some weird moments. Good for you, Emily. Good for you. I get it. Don't worry. Thinks that Emily is definitely gay. Thinks that Becca and Cynthia Rose are cute ship, and thinks the gayest character is Becca. Subject 3 thinks that Ashley and Jessica are going strong. Chloe is done experimenting and is with Chicago now. Thinks that Calamity and Commissar find each other and fall in love. Says Emily goes on to be gay and thinks the gayest characters are Becca and Cynthia Rose. Subject 4 is a fan of Benji and Jesse. Thinks Emily is gay, but not for anybody in the Bellas. They were just her awakening. Thinks that the new Bellas aren't as gay and wanted Stacy to have her baby with Cynthia Rose and believes that they should get back together. And says that the gayest character is Becca. So let's talk about some other notes from the subjects. Subjects 1, 2, 3 dislike Benji and Emily. Subject 2 and 4 thought Becca and Jesse were cute and the second movie didn't have enough of them. Subject 3 does not wish for Cynthia Rose to join the Air Force. Subject 3 headcanons that all the Bellas go on little adventures together after Pitch Perfect 3. Subject 4 was very sad about the Becca-Jesse breakup. Subject 3 thinks Emily doesn't really talk to the new Bellas after she graduates because they don't understand her like the other Bellas do. Subject 1 mentions throughout Pitch Perfect 2 and 3 that Emily dresses like she's not cis. Subject 2 enjoys the weird romance between Lily and DJ Dragon Nuts. Subject 2 is very excited about the Amy Bumper breakup. Subject 1 continuously commented on Anna Kendrick's boobs and also the great outfits in Pitch Perfect 3, usually at the same time. Subject 3 was upset about the absence of the troublemakers in Pitch Perfect 3. Before watching Pitch Perfect 3, Subject 3 said, Becca and Jesse stay together for at least a little while, but gay stuff will happen with Becca in the next movie, as well as, I feel like there's something we're missing with Lily. Subject 1 believes Becca to be autistic, most obviously in the first and third movies. Subject 1 also states that Becca and Jesse broke up because now she's only into women and autism. And that's the presentation. I have enjoyed getting derailed with you all. Thank you for sitting through this very long presentation. I hope that if you have not seen Pitch Perfect, that you do that as soon as possible. And I hope that if you have watched Pitch Perfect, you now feel as though you have seen it way too many times. Thank you so much. Here are some silly gay videos if you just want to watch them isolated from the movies themselves. These are their names and just kind of like what they look like. You can find them on YouTube. This presentation was originally done as a kind of fun friends presentation. It's my base presentation that I want to give to everyone who says, oh, what presentation do you want to give? And I'm like, well, mine's 77 slides, but if you count the slides, you'll notice that you only saw 76 of them. That's because the first slide is kind of a joke friend slide that makes more sense in the context that I originally gave the presentation in. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's rather long and kind of in a format that I haven't done before, so I really appreciate if you would like or subscribe or really just comment. The likes and the comments get me really happy more than anything. Thank you so much for sticking it through. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an excellent day.